What does it mean to be accepted? To fit in? What are we talking about when we say that we belong? Or maybe that we don't? Is acceptance superficial? Does it have to do with the way we look, how we dress, the shoes we wear? Or is acceptance more about how we act, the way we carry ourselves? Watching me walk on stage, you probably had no idea what a complicated relationship I have had with this word. Once I started speaking, my accent may have given part of this reason away. Here's the rest of it. Being born in New York and moving 5 times since, I felt slightly different no matter where I was. Not ostracized, definitely not excluded, just different. When I was younger, these differences were invisible. They were irrelevant. But now, with talks of colleges and futures, weddings and funerals of my friends' families, all happening here in Ireland, some of these differences have lost their subtleties. They've become clearer. It's no longer so easy to ignore that some of these important life events, for me, will be happening overseas. This is something that I thought about often. That is until I went on a volunteering project with my school to India. Walking through Howrah Station in Kolkata, we paused beside a beggar. Our guide, Jim, explained that this man was an untouchable in India, a member of the lowest caste. The beggar, Jim told us, had no rights. He was considered impure, less than human. While all the other beggars in the station carried bags, belongings, things to sell, even if it was only some sticks, this man was completely empty-handed. He was the thinnest, most gaunt person I had ever seen. The clothes he wore were dirty and old, the kind where you can't tell what color they may have been to begin with. They fell on him as they would on a hanger. His dark skin was covered in blisters, his face was peeling. He made no effort to shield it from the sun, almost as if he thought it were pointless. He was barefoot. He sat on the steps, arms outstretched, palms up, elbows resting on his knees. Crouched over. Can you see him? I can see him. I see him every day. Each of the girls in our group acknowledged him as we began to move on. Some said hello, others touched his hand, his arm. His eyes never met ours. Just before we turned to leave, our teacher tapped us on the shoulder and pointed. In front of the man was a queue of local people, all waiting to greet him after seeing that we had. Now, this moment is what I think about often. I'd like to see the queue becoming longer and longer, stretching, the group expanding into Howrah Station. The group becoming larger and larger. I want to believe that the curiosity we created made a ripple effect, however small, that if I were to go back to Kolkata today, this man would meet my eyes. Or better yet, he would be gone from the station, moved on. I imagine what it would be like if this man were accepted in the way that we define that word. Would he have a family? Maybe a daughter my age? A wife? Would he live in a humble, well-kept apartment like the ones we saw crammed into the busy streets of Kolkata? Maybe he'd take the train to a difficult, taxing job in the city, but smile returning home every evening. His wouldn't be an easy life, but it would be a life. I know this is not the reality. The systems put in place that allow me, that allow us to thrive, do not exist for everyone. I'm not that naive. I have an education, a home. I am heard. My opinions are valued. I am included. There are many definitions of acceptance, but one stood out to me. Acceptance is the fact of being received as valid, adequate, or suitable. What I'm really saying is that my being accepted was never about me and my differences in the first place. And it isn't about you and yours. It's about whether or not others choose to see us as enough, as having worth. As I always have been, I choose to accept myself and others. I invite you all to do the same. Thank you.